Keith, we're talking there about your personal involvement and your kind of hands-on with groundsmen around the wider world of rugby. I think the RFU has a number of schemes that you're involved in, some of them on the advice level, and some of them actually about recommending or helping with advice on certain bits of kit. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we went into the game, and there's 6 facility managers, and they got together and said, some of the things that Keith's recommended is fantastic. Why don't we help the clubs?
Right.
So I agreed with them. I got involved and I said, well, look, let's approach some manufacturers. CISIS. I go around the country, and if I go to 5 clubs in a day, there's 2 of them got a bit of orange kit in the edge that they don't know what it is. And it's an early Roman CISIS. and it's so well built and such good kit, it's still there. And we approached CISIS, who came through with the quadruplay, some brushes, and their multi-tiner. Fantastic. So we needed some mowers, so we approached Ransom's Jacobson's for mowers and tractors. Because I go to a lot of clubs. I went to Beverley Rugby Club, and the guy says, I've got a tractor, he said, but it's too big. And I said, let's have a look at it. And he opened the shed doors, and it filled the shed. And I said, when do you use that? And he said, June.
Okay.
So it was useless.
Right.
So we got a 23 horsepower tractor with a 3-point linkage, and laughingly they put together the Keith Kemp package.
Yes, I remember.
You've heard the Keith Kemp package.
Yeah.
And these 3 bits of kit went out to the market, and we helped to fund them, and the companies came in and really sharpened the pencils for us, because they could see that there was a market for them out there that nobody had ever tapped at. So it was a win-win situation for the manufacturers and for the rugby clubs and for the RFU, because we were seen to be helping people with grants, with opportunities to meet people who know what they're talking about. And the CISIS guys and the Ransoms guys were fantastic in the way they demonstrated the equipment, the way they put the equipment together, and the lessons that they taught, and the information they passed on, but also the phone numbers. If it's a Saturday morning you're struggling, phone me.
Okay.
And it's such a good scheme, and the clubs, and I'm really proud of the RFU that, you know, we've got 2,000 clubs just over, and we're in at all these clubs trying to help them, and I think that is such a big thing.
So I think if I sum that up, then I think you've got practical advice and real help with funding the kit that you need to produce quality playing surfaces for the wider world of rugby.
Yes,
that's a fantastic thing for you to be involved in, and audits for that.
And I spoke to Rugby Tailors, and Rugby Tailors came on board and supply fertiliser at a reduced rate, and their biggest brands of grass seed at a reduced rate to rugby clubs, because we can not block buy as or bulk buy rather. I can't do it, but if there's 40 clubs buying seed who weren't buying it 2 years ago, that's much better. And it's better for the clubs.
Better for everybody, isn't it?
Everybody.
It's the old win-win. You're one of what some people would term the Hollywood Groundsman, the star, the elite. I know other groundsmen all do speak to one another. I assume you're sharing your experiences with those guys, and that's obviously very valuable to you. I might just suggest that perhaps one of the themes that's coming out of this interview is that sharing that information and talking to your peer group and the other guys around you is something that you would say is very important to develop as a groundsman.
Yes, I would say so. The groundsmen at the elite end have got there through dedication and hard work, and are there a long time because of their knowledge and their skill. Every groundsman I have ever met will always pass that skill and knowledge on. All of them. Allied to that, we've got 3 fantastic organisations. We've got Bigger, which is the golf world, but you can learn a lot talking to anybody. We're talking grass and drainage. The IOG, for many, many years, were looked down upon and frowned upon because they were almost the old man's. You know, I'm now becoming an old man, but they were almost, you know, there were people walking about with Lord Mayor's chains on.
Right, okay.
Whereas now they're a forward-looking, go-getting organisation. Jason's doing a fantastic job, a really, really good job. And
I get a lot of comments from your peer group.
Yes,
they all to a man say that Jason's doing a great job out there.
It's. I attended a seminar up in Leeds and it went fantastic, really, really good. Pitchcare.com, new kids on the block. I think that shook the IOG up.
Yeah.
And I think that is going really well. Dave Saltman, ex-groundsman, Wolverhampton Wanderers, you know, really, really down-to-earth, basic groundsman, but with a lot of knowledge to share. And I think the industry's got a lot going for it. And I think that we're becoming more and more appreciated, because you take this summer, we've had fantastic test series, we've had a fantastic Wimbledon. The Open, despite what the Scottish weather could throw at it, was fantastic. And hopefully, fingers crossed, he says, the World Cup will go well.
I don't think you need your fingers crossed, Keith. I really don't. So you mentioned the World Cup there, so let's focus on that a little bit now for the last part of the interview here. Starts here at Twickenham on the 18th of September. I know you're pretty excited about that. There are 12 other venues that are involved in the World Cup. They all have their own unique set of conditions, and they've all got their own grounds teams. Some of them are rugby orientated, some of them are not. You've got a role, as I understand it, that's liaising with those guys and helping them. Can you just give us a bit of what that involves and how you're trying to help them?
I wouldn't ever try to tell another groundsman how to do his job. But what I did think was that the captain's runs are the things that are out the ordinary. When you're a football groundsman, they turn up Saturday dinner time and you kick off 3 o'clock and they've gone by 6 o'clock. Yeah. In rugby, we have captain's runs, and they're allowed for an hour and a half on the pitch on a Friday, both teams. Right. So that's 3 hours. Not rugby, it's not competitive, they're not allowed to do scrummaging, but it's something different. And I was sort of aware that this might be new to some of the lads out there, and I know most of the lads out there. So along with Rugby World Cup, we invited them to the South Africa game last season, and they came down on the Friday and they watched the South Africa captain's run on the Friday afternoon. The lads were invited on the pitch afterwards to see if there was any damage, and thankfully there wasn't, which reassured 1 or 2 people. We then went out, had a drink and a meal, and they came to the game on the Saturday, and once again they came onto the pitch afterwards, and they went home a lot happier having seen it, because rugby has this reputation that it's going to cut the pitch up and it's going to be this, that and the other. At the level we're talking, a football pitch will withstand a game of rugby easily, right? Especially the Desso ones, but easily. And the skill and the knowledge of those groundsmen are just so good that it will not affect them. But I've just felt it's the unknown. Yeah. It's the unknown. When I came here, the first game we played was New Zealand. But I'd experienced it at Old Trafford. We had a New Zealand-England game at Old Trafford in '97. And the captain's run was new to me. And I was more worried about that than the game. Yeah. Once the game kicks off, we ain't got silly cones on the pitch and we're not running round boxes, and the game's easy. It's the warm-ups and the captain's run that they may have been worried about. Okay. And hopefully we allayed those fears.